Hey everybody, it's Captain Kyle and I'm here with part 2 of Transformers we never thought we'd get. Yes, there have been tons of Transformers characters that have just appeared in the comics and in the cartoon, and we wanted those toys. And years later, unexpectedly, we got them. So I have 6 more toys. Actually, the 6th one's a special one in this video. But in this second part of our 5 video series, I, Captain Kyle, will be showing you these 6 Transformers that we never thought we'd get. And some of you guessed on the last one, and if they're not in this video, they are coming. Don't you worry. Be right back. So the first Transformer that we really wanted is the father of the Autobots himself, Alpha Trion. He was introduced in the Search for Alpha Trion, which I have to say also introduced the female Autobots, but it's almost like, yeah, we're introducing a whole new group of Autobots, but you know, we're going to put the focus on the old guy. Still, Alpha Trion is very cool, the father of the Autobots, as he is often called. And this is the BotCon 2007 exclusive that featured actual Alpha Trion. And yeah, he's a repaint, remold of Vector Prime from, I'm not sure if it was Armada or Energon. You guys let me know. But he was voiced by the same voice actor as Rhinox, which was cool. But they made a repaint of him for BotCon, and we finally had an Alpha Trion in 2007. Now, we had little figurines and stuff like that, PVCs, but this was a full transforming toy. But since then, we've gotten a lot more. The latest one has been in the 2-pack, Birth of a Hero or some shit like that, which is a repaint of Scourge. There's also from Cyberverse. I mean, now we have Alpha Trions coming out our ass. Even third parties, such as The Last Prophet, who I did do a review on in a separate video. And there's even more Alpha Trions. Now, there was a potential Alpha Trion actually before this one, which was a repaint of Snarl, who is a lion, not the Dinobot. But that didn't come to fruition. But now we have a bunch of different Alpha Trions, and it does seem, in some instances, like Hasbro wants to see if the convention puts out a toy, and if it's that successful, they're like, okay, we'll put out a version for general release. So, Alpha Trion. Now, I'm not going to transform all of them, but I will show you the original, which has a very cool Minicon weapon that changes into a plane/gun. And a little dude, I forget his name, but should have named him Dion. He's got the sword, which interestingly enough, he was never armed in the show. I think maybe once. He recurred many times, unlike some other people who were in that particular episode. And we even got to see an early version of him as A3, as one of the freedom fighters who was fighting against the Quintessons. Now, this one has convenient weapon storage, and we'll take his little companion and we'll plug him in there. And so we have the first spacecraft version of Alpha Trion. And he's pretty much been, well, a version of Scourge or some kind of spacecraft in most of his iterations, unless they go for the lion thing. I've never understood why lions in Alpha Trion. I mean, he's an alpha, but it seemed odd that they would go for lions for him. So that's our first one. Alpha Trion, and even a third party. I will put links in the description, and I'm not going to go through all these now because I am planning on doing an evolution of Alpha Trion. That's why I don't have all the guys out here, but you'll see them all in a future video in all their modes, all their posability. But that is the first of our 6. Now, introduced in the same episode was Optimus's girlfriend, Elita One. Now, this is not the first Elita One we got, though. It was the first BotCon one. This was in 2009. Came with Razorclaw, a Predacon leader without his Predacons. But the first one was actually released in the original movie line, and it was a repaint of the Energon version of RC. And they used this mold a lot for basically any female name you could think of. Plus some that you couldn't because they were brand new characters. But Elita One became a nice little motorcycle, and the transformation did not look dignified. So there she was as her first vehicle, a motorcycle, which was not the truck that we see in the Search for Alpha Trion, but we finally had an Elita One in 2007. you know, 21 years later. But in 2009, we did get a repaint of Thunderblast, but still not a truck. She was a boat, a well-armed boat, but a boat nonetheless. But we were dealing at that point with different repaints. Now we have so many Elita Ones, and again, I'm not going to go through all of them in all their modes, but we got one for Combiner Wars, or was it Power of the Primes? Anyway, she's a combiner, kind of a remold, repaint of Starscream. We got remolds of RC, but in the Legacy line, they finally gave her a truck, and they even have her in Earthspark. So we've gotten a lot of Elita Ones since those days, so that is our second of 6. Now there is a third one from the same episode. I promise they're not all going to be in this video from that episode. I could, but I'm saving some for later. But another one was Chromia. And guess what? It was a BotCon exclusive to start with. The Descent into Evil, and it again was another repaint of that Energon version. Will you stand up? Of RC. Okay, I'm just gonna hold her because she likes to be held. I don't know, she seems a little too tough for that. But yes, another version of RC's motorcycle mode from Energon. I think this was Descent into Evil, but then we got the Generations one, and this is not the Generations one, this is the Combiner Wars, but it's a repaint of that, and it's very cool. It is the Combiner Hunters version. I mean, look at that sword. She is backing. I mean, she also has a gun on her leg that she can pull out, but this is a very cool version of Chromia, and she's a Combiner Hunter, along with Wingblade and RC as they go out and try to hunt combiners. But she changes into a motorcycle as well, and she looked almost like a Tron-style motorcycle, but at least it wasn't a repaint of the same old RC. And definitely a cool toy. But I have to say, later versions of Chromia were a little more like the truck or vehicle that she was in, but again, a lot of these female Autobots were made as the same mold, which is kind of irritating. It's not been until recently that they've really started making distinctive molds for various female Autobots. I mean, yeah, you have Override from Cybertron, and you have Strika, and a few others, but a lot of these ones that we did not expect to get, they've just basically taken the same mold and said, all right, here you go. Chromia is a third. No more from that episode in this video, I promise. But of course, we talked about Alpha Trion, now we have to talk about Optimus Prime, or, to be more accurate, Orion Pax. So Orion Pax was only in one episode. He was the pre-Optimus Prime Autobot who was saved by the aerial bot. Watch War Dawn, you'll get it. But he has had a number of versions throughout the years, but it took so long for us to get them. And for some reason, like the first one, very similar to the latest one, was a repaint of Cup. Though I don't think they changed the face. So why would they take one of the oldest Autobots and make him into one of the youngest? I'm not sure. But that was Takara's decision, not Hasbro's, because that was I believe, a eHobby exclusive or something like that, which I did not pick up. But we've had various versions of Orion Pax, even some third-party ones, which are pretty neat. This is a third-party Orion Pax I picked up a while back. And he looks a lot more like Orion Pax than these guys. He does look a lot more like the new one. So I think he might still be a repaint of Cup, but a third-party Cup. But looking at this particular newest Orion Pax, I'd say he looks the most like Orion Pax out of all the ones that we've gotten. Even though, again, his vehicle mode is pretty much Cup. Though it's interesting that pretty much every single Orion Pax is armed, even though he did not seem to have any weapons in that episode. He talked tough, defending his girlfriend, but... So there you have him, Orion Pax. We never thought we'd get him, and it took years. In fact, it wasn't until 2005 that we got our first Cup repaint as an eHobby exclusive of Orion Pax. 20 years. Long time to wait for a toy. All right, 2 more to go. And this one is Impactor. From the UK Transformers comic comes Impactor, leader of the Wreckers. Now, there was a toy which was a club exclusive, which was a repaint of another Transformer and goes for an ungodly sum of money. I don't have that one, but I got all the Impactors, and they all seem to have different heads. I even have the Netflix one. I didn't bring that one out just because 3 is enough. 3's company, 4 is a crowd. I didn't want to have a crowd, but just as DevCon, we had a previous version of DevCon, but the latest Legacy version is the definitive one. This, I would say, despite the multiple heads, is the definitive version of Impactor. Closest to what he looked like in the actual comic book created by Simon Furman, because he had an interesting challenge, Simon did, because he had to come up with stories but not contradict what Bob Budiansky was doing in the US. So he used characters such as Twin Twist and Topspin and Roadbuster and Whirl, great characters that weren't being used by Bob at all, and added a few others, another of which might appear in this video series. But he basically had to not contradict what Bob was doing, but still come up with cool stories. And the Wreckers were basically a group that were kind of commandos, kind of like, you know, the Rogue One, so to speak, of the Autobots. And what was cool is he could also use characters from the movie, and he used that to introduce Ultra Magnus in his pre-movie days, as well as the 3 Autobot Triple Changers. I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't checked out the comic, but you should definitely check out the comic. But this is pretty dang comic accurate to what appeared in the original UK comic. And very cool character. Some of these have Autobot symbols, some of them have Decepticon symbols. There are reasons, both in the Netflix series, which everybody sounded the same, talking, "Oh, I'm just so tired of this war." And Optimus Prime joined the William Shatner School of Acting. "I know who you are, Quintesson." But there was also reasons in the comic. Well, this is our 5th, and I am so glad we got an Impactor. Now the last one's kind of special because we didn't even know it was an option. This being appeared in the show, but we didn't even consider that we would get a Transformer of it at any point. Until the Autobot version came out, we got Nemesis. So this is one not only did we not think we were going to get, we didn't even consider it as a possibility. At least I didn't. Not until years later. Maybe there were some rumblings here and there. A couple people said, "Oh, it'd be nice if we had, you know, transforming Decepticon and Autobot ships." Or maybe when this guy made his appearance, well, this girl, sorry ma'am, made her appearance in Beast Wars. Yes. Nemesis will destroy the Maximals. He blew it at your tailpipe. I'm gonna die. But I am not gonna transform this because I have an entire review on this toy that you can check out, where I go through all the accessories and all the modes and the little meat cleavers that she carries. But yes, this is a toy I know I didn't imagine was even a possibility. And then to get her was awesome. So that gives you a hint as far as one of the Transformers that will appear in a future video. You can probably figure it out. But yes, I am very glad we got this. First appearance was in 1984, but only in vehicle mode. And we didn't see a Nemesis. We haven't seen a Nemesis on a show ever, to my knowledge. And I don't know if Nemesis has appeared in robot mode in any of the comics, because I'm really good on Marvel, but the other stuff, I really need to catch up. But I have to make videos for you guys, so who has the time? So there you have it, 6 more Transformers we never thought we were gonna get with, you know, UK comics and like single appearances in episodes and not even a robot in the episodes. So we still have 3 more videos to go. And I would love for you to make your guesses as far as what additional Transformers I am going to showcase in those next 3 videos. And if you come up with some that I didn't think of, I am not changing my list. My list is set in stone. If you guys come up with characters that I have not thought of, I'll do another video as a bonus to showcase those. And while you're making your guesses and mulling over these, I'll put links to all these guys, well, most of them in the description, so you can pick up at least some versions of these elusive characters. You can also check out the first video in this series, which is right over here, kind of in the way, that showcases the first 6, and you can make guesses from that as well. And again, I hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I enjoy making them. We will see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.